Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for hearing us out on this. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I guess first, random coincidence when Behnaz and I had first gotten connected, we had one single shared LinkedIn connection. Um, the smallest of worlds, my high school prom date. Um,
Doesn't
Behnaz's
happen
first
that
cousin.
often.
So, yes, we've reconnected on all that. Haven't talked to her in 20 years, but that's the small world we live in, ironically.
So we're practically family.
We're practically family at this point. Um, so, real quick, kicking it off, Benaz, deep background in fashion. You've been in travel, what, about a year with Marriott? I guess, simply put, I guess, what has surprised you about the travel industry coming in, especially with your fashion background?
Yeah, so I worked in fashion and retail for most of my career. Most recently at Old Navy, prior to that, Stuart Weitzman, Ralph Lauren, and Gucci. And then coming into Marriott International was a really exciting shift because seeing how consumers are moving not just from shopping for products, but being more focused on experiences and once in a lifetime experiences. And so one of the exciting shifts for me was just seeing the convergence of what's happening between fashion, retail, and hospitality. So many fashion brands are trying to become lifestyle brands through hospitality, opening cafes and restaurants and hotels, and similarly in the hospitality space, hotel brands wanting to connect much more as lifestyle brands. So I think that's been a really interesting intersection of seeing the evolution, not only of how the industry is shifting, but also how consumer behavior is shifting.
Yeah, definitely. Within that, obviously, personalization, something that's rapidly just consistent and part of our lives. How do you transition from personalization within the fashion industry to Marriott?
Yeah, so I actually think it was interesting for me because I feel like personalization is so much more complex in hospitality because in retail, even if you are selling multiple categories of product, there's still a finite amount of things that you're trying to target consumers for to get them to shop. Whereas in hospitality, we not only have a wealth of experiences to offer at Marriott, we have over 30 brands in our portfolio. We have over 10,000 properties, destinations in 145 countries. And it's beyond just hotels, right? So it's incredible experiences around food and beverage, it's incredible experiences in wellness, outdoor sports, music. So the amount of personalization is unbelievable. And so we actually have over 400 attributes that we're able to target consumers with. And it just makes it more interesting, I think, to be able, and more complex to be able to personalize.
Yeah, within the personalization piece, I guess, where do you find the sweet spot to be of personalized but not overstepping between that balance?
Yeah, I think, offering the personalization really needs to add value for consumers. We have over 260 million members in our member base in our loyalty program. And it's one of the most incredible, I would say, assets of our organization. And members voluntarily are constantly giving us information about their interests, their preferences, because it's a value proposition for them. By giving us that information, they expect better service from us. And it's really more of a relationship. So our ability to personalize and to gather this valuable information from our consumers is really one based on trust and relationship.
Gotcha. One thing when we kind of connected that definitely stood out to me. I'm sorry to leave this open ended, but I'm genuinely curious. Decision sciences.
Yeah.
It's a deep background for yours. Um, Teach me.
Yeah, I was so surprised that you picked that up in my profile because it was very early on in my career. My undergraduate was in decision sciences, and I think that helped shape. Even though I later on moved into e-commerce and then really in marketing as a focus. But decision sciences has always been at the core of my foundation and training, and so much of us as marketers, it's a balance of art and science. But I think the being rooted in decision science has always made me have a data-driven and customer-centric approach to what I do. And I find that so critical. And what it's allowed me to do is to really address each of those opportunities for the companies that I work for with that approach. And actually, as an example, when I joined Gucci, they were really looking for that kind of decision science approach to and customer centricity, because especially in luxury space, brands were so much more accustomed to leading with just their brand image rather than having those insights turn into meaningful business actions. So it's been a journey.
It sounds cool at the least. Again, something that popped out for me, and I know we had talked a little bit about MMM. It's a hot topic. It's growing. I guess, how does the decision science background help you understand MMM results? How does that play into being able to do the most with what you get out of MMM?
Yeah, so MMM is complex. For those of you who have been on that journey, what was interesting for me, I mean, we've been doing MMM on the retail side for several years now, but I think it's relatively newish in the hospitality space, because I think it's so much more complicated to be able to have that level of attribution in hospitality than it is in retail. We've embarked on that journey at Marriott over this last year and are really leveraging into that so much more now to be able to drive much more incrementality and knowledge into how do we get our marketing dollars to work much more effectively for us. And so I think it's a really powerful tool as marketers. Where we find opportunities that we're hoping to continue evolving on with that is not just to leverage it to understand the past behavior, but how can it become more helpful and predictive capabilities to help us with our marketing choices.
Interesting. Okay. Shifting gears slightly. Marriott Media Network.
Yeah.
Big. Obviously, there's a lot of other opportunities within travel, the United Media Network and such. I understand you partner with them, have a white paper coming. In your view, is Marriott a hotel company that does marketing, or is it a media company that happens to have a bunch of great ad units now?
Yeah, so for those of you who may not know, we launched Riot Media in June of last year, and it is a really exciting media network to be able to really target to the traveler. And I think we're really uniquely positioned with this incredible database of customers that we have, and we have over 400 attributes about our customers. And so to your question of are we, are we marketing or are we selling ads? I think we're doing both, and I think that's what's amazing about a brand like Marriott, who is able to serve the customer in so many different ways. And the white paper that we're doing, so United is a big partner of ours, and we have worked with Connective Media. We're launching a white paper really focused on the psychology of the traveler that will be coming up after CES. I really encourage, for those who are interested in the psychology of the traveler, to have a chance to read through it, because there's some really incredible truths that we've uncovered and learnings. Knowing that the consumer who is on that travel journey, there's 2 or 3 really interesting insights that's come out through that research that we've done together with United. One is that we know that, for example, consumers who are going and booking trips and experiences are looking for novelty, unique experiences that enable them to have, whether it's a once-in-a-lifetime moment or something special. And so they're much more open and receptive to new brands and products because they're seeking novelty of experience while they're on that trip. So that's a really interesting insight for us as we, think about how do we better not only serve them, but for other brands who want to be in that journey with us to be able to know that they're so much more receptive to trying those things. The second insight that we found, which is really interesting, is that, so for example, we know that, for those who are currently on a trip, over 70% are thinking about their next trip while they're on that trip. So that's such an incredible opportunity to be top of mind. And we see that even at Marriott, we have over 55 million of our bookings of a second stay come right before they're even completing their stay with us. So you're much more receptive to thinking about your next trip while you're on that trip, and how can we better target you, and offer you those types of considerations. And then the third thing that I think is super interesting coming from the work that we've been doing is that expenses like a big trip, whether it's flights or hotels, are generally large purchases, and so it provides a reference point that seems relatively easy in comparison to another purchase that you might want to make on that trip. So you're like, okay, I spent, I don't know, $10,000 on this family trip to Hawaii. So if I'm going to buy this purse, or if I'm going to buy this pair of sunglasses, it's relatively small as a purchase decision compared to what I'm doing on this trip. So I'm much more open to trying those things. So I think it's just a unique opportunity for us, just given how much we know about consumers. We have, as I said, over 10,000 properties, over 1.5 million people coming into our hotels every single day. And we have a unique opportunity with all the TVs that we have in our hotel rooms to be able to personalize that content to what you're most interested in while you are with us on your journey.
Interesting. So purely from the Sojern side, and I've been at Sojern now 13 years, we've seen travel evolve dramatically, but it's been interesting how, for us, we partner with a number of airlines, OTAs, meta-search sites. We used to see 7, 8, 900 individual touch points along the path to purchasing a trip. A lot of that is evolving as search engines are turning into AI bots and everything there. I guess, how do you bridge that gap to tailoring what you do to an AI bot versus straight search engines?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we're continuing to stay really close to as we're adapting. How do we evolve our marketing to engage not just with customers, but with agents? And, humans are much more inclined to be drawn to really strong visuals, creative storytelling, aesthetics as ways of engaging with a brand. Agents maybe less so, right? And so what we're seeing is that if it's the agent that's interacting with you versus the customer, for us, the things that we need to be thinking about is like, how do we ensure that we're showing up consistently, because the agents are pulling that information, so that not only are we getting referrals from trusted sources, so lots of people are talking about us, saying the same thing about us, we're saying the same thing, and consistently being clear about our positioning, our value proposition, so that all of that is being pulled up in sort of the AI information about us. So really it comes down to consistency. You're actually building trust with agents in the same way that you're trying to build trust with humans, just in a different way. So I think that's an interesting evolution for us, but I actually think that you still need really compelling creative, because you still need, the people to be engaging with that content and sharing it and endorsing it, so that you are really gaining that credibility and trust also for agents to be referencing.
Interesting. So, and that's pre-trip, obviously, right? Mid-trip, once you're on property, how are you using AI to enhance the experience for the traveler, but then also maintain, I guess, the soul of the experience? I'm sure everyone checked in their hotel, they instantly get an AI text message about, text a robot if they want pillows. How do you balance that with AI there mid-trip?
Yeah. So I mean, we're still very much in the sort of test and learn phase on how do we integrate that within the guest experience. We are really our core business is rooted in people, right? Our and we're very human centered in that regard, and we're really leveraging AI as a way of enabling our associates to be able to focus on the things that matter most to customers so that they can spend more time on the human interactions and leveraging those capabilities to help them be more productive on the things that they don't need to be focused on, taking them away from that guest experience. And then I think from the customer base, I mean, we have within customer service the AI integration of our chat functions and our customer service. That's a really important way for us to kind of continue engaging there, and it's a continuous evolution for us. But we've got some exciting things we're working on.
That's awesome. So similarly, I think, and you talked a little bit about, the likelihood of booking travel when you're already on a trip. I'm like that.
Yeah.
I pretty much always have to have something to look forward to.
Like, what trip are you thinking of next?
Actually, I'm coming back here.
You are?
I am running a 10K on the strip at night. It's going to be interesting, and I'm probably going to regret it. But what I'm curious about is, there is some spontaneity with travel. And I guess, how do you balance, the different trends that come up? I mean, even like Taylor Swift that changed the travel industry last year, with everything else that goes into, planning and booking for such a big, big brand.
Yeah. I mean, so gaining those insights, and we really listen to what our consumers, our associates, our hotels are telling us to help us think about what are the not just trends we need to better capitalize on and serve our consumers with. And so, for example, the example of Taylor Swift and just traveling for concerts in general, we were the official supporter of Taylor Swift's concert, also with Beyonce, because we knew that our customers and fans were traveling to these destinations to go and have these amazing experiences, and they were staying in our properties, and we wanted to really help. Not only because we provide with Marriott Bonvoy so many incredible, unique experiences to our customers, but to really take the experience to the next level. So like with Taylor Swift, we saw very quickly that people were making those friendship bracelets, and our hotels were quickly putting together tables and kits to kind of make that happen. So we created stations around our properties to really tap into that fandom and the natural experience that was organically happening, and being able to provide space for the community. Another insight for us that came from our consumers was really, we started to realize that over 70, almost 80% of our customers were really thinking about outdoor activities for their trip purpose, and that was really important indication for them. So we just recently launched our outdoor collection, and we just tried to make the experience much easier so that if you are a diehard ski enthusiast and you are looking for the best ski destinations to be going and visiting, we shifted our entire ability and experience on our site so that you can search for destinations and properties based on your passion in specific outdoor activities, rather than just on hotel brand or hotel destination. So we've now shifted that to say, okay, because you have this particular passion that you're keen on, how can we allow that to make that experience much easier for you and show you that we do have the range of offering to meet that passion?
So just from our side, similar to the Taylor Swift stuff of last year, we're seeing everything with the World Cup boom. A lot of demand for traveler audiences layered in with soccer interests and things like that. Is the World Cup the Taylor Swift opportunity of 2026?
Oh my God, I think so. I think the World Cup is going to be one of the biggest cultural moments of 2026. And we actually just yesterday announced that Marriott Bonvoy will be the official hotel supporter of FIFA. We're very excited about that. And yes, I'm a huge soccer fan, so it's like on a personal level, it's like so exciting. We've had incredible sports partnerships over the years, but I think we know that this is something that matters to our customers. There's over 6.5 billion soccer enthusiasts for the World Cup. There's going to be over 6 million travelers coming to the US, Canada, and Mexico for the World Cup. It is the largest cultural moment, I think, of the year, and we're so excited to be a part of it.
Are you going? Do you have?
Oh my! I mean, I'm going to certainly try. But no, and that's the thing in terms of offering, for our members, for Marriott Bonvoy members, to have the ability to have access to the FIFA World Cup games. We've got some exciting things coming up there. So for those soccer fans, because tickets are really hard to get. If you're a Marriott Bonvoy member, actually, show of hands, Bonvoy members in the room. Yes, thank you. So Marriott Bonvoy members will have, really exciting opportunities to have access to the World Cup. So stay tuned.
Awesome. So the last question. We talked a little about the decision science stuff, which honestly just fascinates me. But given that your career in high fashion, if you could use AI to solve one impossible friction point within the traveler journey, what would it be?
Yeah, this was such a good question. Like you really had. Yeah, I was thinking about this a lot to be like, oh gosh, what if I had a magic wand? But what was interesting for me as I was thinking about the shift in AI that we're seeing and talking about, I had this great session that my Publicis partner had me go to with Brian Cooley, and there was this discussion around the shift in AI being more about anticipation, right? And that's what we're seeing, is that it's really becoming more about anticipation and how can AI enable anticipation more. And it made me really think that this whole value proposition of hospitality is the ability to anticipate your needs, right? Great hospitality, great service, really at its core comes down to the fact that when you walk into that hotel, they know who you are. When you go to your hotel room, not only do they have your pillow, I mean, I am always in heels and I don't like to have to walk a lot to get to my room. I always want to be close to the elevator. They know that about me. They're anticipating my needs. They know that I love to have, fresh water, iced ideally, or fresh fruit. So that those little bits of welcome that anticipate my preferences and needs are what makes the hospitality experience so great. And so I'm really excited that AI is moving into this anticipatory world, and how can we remove those points of friction so that I'm not just looking at like, what are your preferences, so that I'm just, giving you what you're asking for in that moment. Like, you and I were talking, okay, I need more towels, you ask for more towels.
I like pillows.
Right? You want more pillows, you ask for more pillows. But if I know that, how can I anticipate your needs better and leverage AI to power that, so that, like we all know, right? Our phones are listening to us, they anticipate and they serve up that content, and you're like, how did you know that I was looking for this curtain, for example, and I'm serving, getting ads for curtain rods all of a sudden? Because it has this anticipatory notion to it. How can we do that so as you're thinking it, we're able to serve you with that? And I'm excited to see where it can go.
Yes, I see a lot of opportunity within the context of planning the trip.
Yeah.
And the individual nuances around it. Does grandma come? What if we get split 2 rooms? Is it just a getaway and anything there? Is that the kind of context that you think can really be tailored in an AI world to get the best possible experience, more predictive? It'll know that you would like to have allergy-friendly restaurants nearby, things like that.
Well, so if I think back, and when I was in the luxury and fashion space, we didn't have official loyalty programs, right? In the same way that Marriott has. And I was often thinking about, how do I build loyalty when I can't give you the same, the incredible credit cards and the point system that I now have. And when we were looking at what do consumers value the most, the ultimate luxury is time. right? You want the ultimate luxury for you personally is to be able to have time. And I think that in not hospitality, but travel specifically, probably there's still a lot of friction in the trip planning phase, right? It still takes a lot of time to plan the ideal trip. And there's so many little details that will enable you to get to the ideal trip that you're looking for, whether you're going to a new destination or, and there's certain things that you kind of are like, okay, when I go here, this is my favorite hotel room, and this is my favorite restaurant, all of these things. But if we can remove points of friction around the trip planning, where Marriott Bonvoy is a source of all of those points of not just inspiration and ability to serve you wherever you are, but to help remove those points of friction across pre, during, and post, that would be
The dream.
dream.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And gosh, it was cold and now sunny and bright. So getting your vitamin D in. Thanks, everyone.